Good morning. This is Crystal Woods with Seasons in the Vine, and it's Fresh Friday. And today we're going to talk all things houses. I'm so excited about this Fresh Friday. I'm really sharing with you things that I haven't ever really put out there in a more formal way. These are things that I've had many talks about with friends in ministry and just teaching Bible study and different things, different conversations, but it's never been on a Fresh Friday. So I'm super excited about where we're going to go today. We're going to talk all things houses, meaning you, but then also your physical houses, because sometimes there is a correlation between our real physical houses and what it means is inside of us. Let me explain. So the Bible talks about how we're living stones being built up and together to be a house of God, how we're a temple of the Holy Spirit. But also Jesus references us as houses. We are a home for God. And what's in there? What's it like for Jesus in your heart? I say that a lot of times, kind of funny, little tongue in cheek, but I say it sometimes just to get people really thinking about what are the things in their heart that is in there with the Lord. Jesus talks about in Luke 11, a demon, when demons leave, and he uses this idea of us being a house. And so I don't mean necessarily demonic, even though absolutely on the table. We can't excuse what Jesus teaches. But my point today is more about clutter and chaos. And they could be signs of enemy activity. They could also be signs of brokenness or avoidance. We'll get into it. But in Luke 11, Jesus in chapter 11:24, he goes on to say, when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, it passes through waterless places seeking rest. And not finding any, it says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds it swept and put in order. Then it goes and takes along 7 other spirits more evil than itself. They go in and live there, and the last state of the man becomes worse than the first. And there's a lot to understand as far as like demonic activity in this, but I'm not teaching warfare today. I'm not teaching that. I have taught that, but that's not what we're doing today. We're talking about the house. And so Jesus even talks about this idea that we're a house. He also talks about building your house on the solid rock, not on the sand. And those who build their house on the rock, when the wind comes and the rain comes, they're going to be good. But if you're in the sand, it's going to be really bad for you in the day of trouble. And so there's just this idea that we are spiritual houses. And I want to talk about what that means, because I think there are huge ramifications. And I want to open our eyes to this reality. It's like a biblical principle. Are we an orderly house? Are we a chaotic house? Are we a container for love or a container for hate? Do we have a lot of bitterness in there, or are we walking around with forgiveness and peace and freedom? So what's in our house? There's a couple ways I'm going to attack this today, so brace yourself. But first, let's go with the most obvious, which I have done a Fresh Friday on in the past. Where is your house built? Where are you built? And is it a good, solid foundation of Jesus Christ being the cornerstone? Are you solid in that? Or are you on sinking sand? Are you in a bad place? And that's not really the talk for today, but we can start there. Where are you planted? Where's your foundation? And then I want to talk about what's in your house. What is going on in here? Well, a lot of times for me, I can discern about myself or about someone what's going on inside when I look at what's going on outside. What goes on in here does transfer. It does translate. I'll give you an example. If we're a house and I'm really cluttered inside and I haven't really addressed a lot of my stuff, I have never really walked through my past and reconciled things that might need reconciled. I've received the gospel, but maybe I haven't applied it to things, and I'm just carrying around that baggage. I'm carrying around all that bondage. then I might be a cluttered house, and my actual house might be cluttered. It might just be full, and it's not even dirty, but it's just like there is so much here. What am I trying to distract myself from? What am I not wanting to see by putting all of these things everywhere in my house? What's not been addressed? And so there's something about that. Just go with me here. Really press into this and see what the Lord might show you, even about your own house. Also, it might not be clutter. It might be empty. Like there's just a vacancy, like you're not filled with the Holy Spirit. And what that could look like in a physical house is just, it's orderly and, maybe pretty clean, but it's barren. It's just empty. There's like empty walls and empty space, and there doesn't feel like there's a lot of life. Well, maybe that's what it means. There's been so much removed or dissociated from. It might not be removed, but you might have just shut it off. There's so much locked away and compartmentalized. All that is really out is just a lot of barrenness. I'll talk to you about my house. I have been a different housekeeper in different seasons, and it has been very spiritual for me to go from being a really messy person who was not very disciplined in the way of keeping a house, especially early on in our marriage, and like even keeping my room as a kid. Like I was full of stuff. Like I had a lot of things I was not dealing with. And as I have grown in the Lord and really dealt with my stuff, from that has come this fruit of cleanliness. And I'm not a neat freak kind of thing. Our house is very lived in, but there is an order to it, and it's very streamlined. And I actually get really overwhelmed by a lot of clutter. But there has to be that feeling, that warmth of life. And so I don't like things super barren either. But I'll tell you what the Lord has been talking to me about. He's been talking to me about closets. And on the up and up, anybody can stop by my house pretty much at any time, and it's going to be in pretty good order, lived in. Things are not like all exact, but clean and orderly, and the decorations very appeasing to the eye. But go into a closet and it might be a different story. And so the Lord and I have been talking about that. And it's definitely things that I have put in my soul, my heart, that maybe I don't want to deal with. I don't want to go there. And it's manifesting, it's showing itself, it's revealing itself in my closets, where on the up and up, everything's looking great, but there are parts inside of me that I'm just like, let's just put that in the closet. Let's not take that out today. And the Lord has been having me address the closets and going into those places of deeper pain and disappointment to flush them out, because I want my closets clean too. What about you? There's whole areas sometimes in my house that are like more dead, and it really shows. Like that's the condition of my heart in how I even care for this part of the house, or how I even decorated it, or how whatever. Like you could tell like I wasn't feeling it. And so look around your houses, talk to the Lord about it, because perhaps your house maybe is in some way reflective of what's going on inside. I know mine is. Also, I have a really good friend. I won't say her name, but some of you might be able to figure it out. She has this amazing gift that God has given her. And when he uses that gift in her, she can see everybody's spiritual house, and it's amazing. And so she can see through to like someone's faith and like where they're at with the Lord. And it's a great thing in ministry, because then you know how to pray for someone, and you know how to come alongside them to see more and more freedom. So we are, in a way, a house. We are a home for God. We are that collectively. It's not just individually. Scripture's plural in that you are a temple of the Holy Spirit. There's a plurality there, like together, united, we are. And then there's the idea of like, am I a clean house? Am I cluttered? Is there a lot of stuff unresolved? Am I just pushing stuff down and repressing things and not dealing with them? And what does that look like? Am I undisciplined in keeping my house? How am I navigating that? Am I okay with dirt and whatever? And and if that's true, is there places in me that I'm also ignoring and not taking care of? I would propose there's a good possibility of that. You need to pray into it. Let me see what else I wanted to say. That might be about it. The UPS guys here. That's good. We needed that. But the level of chaos sometimes, some homes you can even walk in and you just have that sense of chaos. If there is chaos, think about hoarding. If there is those kind of actions, like hoarding comes from brokenness. It comes from a poverty mindset. I have to have, I need to have, I'm being swallowed up by all the things that I need to have. Well, that's showing like a pretty vacant soul spot there that really needs to be filled with God. Those are things that we need to look at. God is a God of order. If order is lacking in your home, it's probably lacking within you. And that can be breeding ground. It can be an indicator even of enemy activity, because he brings chaos and disorder of every kind. And God brings order. So what does your house look like right now? And is there any way that there is a correlation between what's going on in your home or your car, anything like that, in your bedroom, if you're younger and you still live in your parents' house, to what's going on in your actual soul? Are you a clean house? For me, sometimes I will get a sense, now talking more about the demonic realm of this, for me, I can usually discern if someone's a clean house or a dirty house. And dirty, what I mean is unclean, like an unclean spirit. And I can discern that based on fruit, based on different things that I'm picking up through the gift of discernment from the Holy Spirit. And I will often just say, not a clean house. And then I'll know there's going to be disorder there. There's going to be chaos. There's probably unchecked sin and rebellion maybe. And it's going to manifest in very particular ways. We're going to see that revealed. Manifest just means revealed. So we're going to see that revealed, become known, brought into the light, because the house itself isn't clean. Is the enemy attached to you in any way? Is he causing disruption and ruckus? You need to get him out if he is. But you need to go to Jesus and talk to him about, how did he get here? What is giving him a space here? Because I want to get to the root of it, not just address these symptoms. I want to get under it and see if you're a clean house or you're not a clean house, and go from there. I could write a book about this, guys, with the many examples that I have lived and seen in my own experience with the Lord cleansing me of things, cleansing my house, and also what I've seen in ministry. I could write a book. There is something to this, and I'm just trying to impart a little bit of it to you today, just that correlation. I wish I could share more. It's so much in real time how it plays out over the years of just collecting different things. But I do know there's a correlation. Also, if you can't tolerate your house being a particular way, what does that mean? Like if you don't let people live in your house, it has to be so orderly. What does that mean is going on in your soul? And what are you trying to control? There's so many things the Lord wants to talk to you about. I know he's been talking to me about it, and it's been going really well. So have fun thinking about you as a spiritual house.